Welcome everybody.
Hello, Prof.
Hello, Prof.
Have you ever wondered how to define the boundary between life and death? What is it to be alive or dead? François-Xavier Bichat, a French doctor who lived between 1771 and 1802, defined life as follows: life is the set of functions that resist death. Regarding the death, as strange as it may seem, its boundary remains poorly defined. Here is a philosophical dissertation topic for those who like to think. A man in a coma for a year, if he dies without waking up during this period, was he alive or dead during this period? For me, the answer depends on the definition of life. 1. Is life the consciousness of living or having lived? Or is it the unconscious biological mechanics, which governs the life of the billions of cells in us that renew themselves periodically, and only die definitively after the clinical death due to lack of oxygen and food? Or rather, life is the perception of breathing: he breathes, therefore he lives. 2. Did the man in a coma wake up for short moments imperceptible to those around him? Or did he cross the border of no return, after a complete stop of a determined duration on this border? A joke says, "You are dead when your doctor tells you that you are." We therefore rely, without asking any questions, on the death certificate drawn up by the doctor attesting to a cardiorespiratory arrest supposed to be permanent.
When the time arrives, it neither goes back nor forward, say the elders when speaking of death. What time are we talking about? The time indicated on a watch? Or a boundary between life and death drawn by our imagination under the term time? The time interval more or less precise, for example, as it is often indicated in the autopsy report of a medical examiner. Or what is called biological time. As this notion of time here is as vague as the linguistic variables, developed in fuzzy logic by the American engineer and mathematician of Iranian-Azerbaijani origin Lotfi Zedeh, we can consider that it is all of these at once with varying degrees. Indeed, fuzzy logic is a branch of mathematics and computer science that focuses on the modeling and processing of uncertainty or imprecision in information. Unlike classical logic where truth values are binary, true or false, fuzzy logic allows degrees of belonging to a category, ranging from 0, not at all, to 1, totally.
In a post on Facebook some time ago, Prof. Arson said in a parable about life, "We wake up every morning thanks to the gift of life, which God the Creator has raised in us, and which we wind up each time if we pay attention to our health, as we used to wind a clock, until the day when the spring of life breaks or rusts forever, and it is over, we can no longer wind it." The boundary between life and death is like the horizon of a black hole. A black hole is a part of space from which light itself cannot escape according to astrophysicists. The horizon of a black hole is defined as representing the boundary from which the speed necessary for liberation, going back to exit the black hole, would exceed that of light. Therefore, it is the boundary where to escape becomes impossible, because the light can't, and speed of light is impossible for matter to reach according to Einstein's special relativity. The speed of light is a fundamental constant and equal to 300,000 kilometers per second.
By analogy with the event horizon of a black hole, we can say that the end of life is a boundary, or event horizon. Once reached, this boundary must inevitably be crossed. There is no turning back, just like in a black hole in the universe. However, this point of no return, which the science of resuscitation is constantly pushing back, is not precisely defined. The causes leading to this boundary and the speed at which it is crossed, even if the passage to the other side is inevitable for all living beings, vary from species to species, from individual to individual, and from the place where one approaches this boundary, as well as the human and material means of resuscitation available. Indeed, in the past, the crossing of this point of no return was indicated by the cessation of the heartbeat or the cessation of breathing. Now we can restart the heart and breathing with an electric shock from a defibrillator. We can even use extracorporeal oxygenation, without the need for a heartbeat or lung breathing, and maintain an individual for several days on the border between life and death, with the possibility of returning.
According to Stéphane Charpier, a neuroscience professor at the Sorbonne University, today, especially in hospital settings, we have more precise criteria to identify the physiopathological and clinical conditions that herald an inevitable or proven death, but without being able to determine the exact moment of death. These advances are the result of rapid progress in resuscitation, intensive care, particularly artificial ventilation, the sophistication of clinical investigations, and numerous research studies, as mentioned earlier.
Indeed, according to Professor Charpier again, as early as the 1970s American states enacted brain death into their medical and legal statutes. A series of tests were refined and amended by the U.S. National Institutes of Health, leading in 1981 to a new definition of death that was quickly adopted in all U.S. states, and subsequently elsewhere in the world. What is a dead person? Well, a person who presents an irreversible cessation of circulatory and respiratory functions, or an irreversible cessation of all functions of the brain as a whole. This total cessation of brain activity can be verified by a tomography, or PET scan, or an electroencephalogram. This brain void is equivalent to a form of functional decapitation, the brain being anatomically present but unable to function. So, today we look to signs of life in the brain. Only a flat electroencephalogram, that is without any waves, is considered a sign of the passage from life to death without the possibility of return. This definition of death does not completely eliminate imprecision and doubt, especially for the term irreversible, because tomorrow nothing prevents science from pushing this boundary even further.
Thanks to everyone for watching the video until the end, and see you soon in another scientific or philosophical topic.